Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson, tactical preview time again, brought to you by our friends at Parimatch. If you want to skip to any of the parts of the preview, then check out the chapters below. I've got an exclusive bet coming for you a little bit later on, so stay tuned for that. But before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about Wigan. In the last few matches, Wigan have lost 1-0 to Derby, won 2-0 against Carlisle before drawing 1-1 against Barnsley. They've managed 2 wins in their past 6 home games in the FA Cup, and the remaining 4 they drew 1 and lost 3. Shaun Maloney is managing them at the moment, and they are 17th in the League One table, 4 points clear of the relegation zone, but in a relatively decent place, I think it would be safe to say. They were deducted 8 points for an EFL rule breach prior to the campaign start. So I would expect that their form, will see them at least land somewhere mid-table. Maloney actually struck the winner against United back in April 2012, the only time Wigan have avoided defeat to United, which is a little bit of a coincidence, and I'm sure he'll be showing that DVD as many times as possible this week, because United do have an incredible record against Wigan, and I genuinely don't expect too many difficulties tomorrow night. I think we've been poor this season. I don't think any of you are going to disagree with me on that front. But we're better than mid-table League One. I mean, fuck me. I'll see you after the game, I'm sure. But if we're not, we're in trouble, aren't we? My days. So with United, it's all or nothing. We've only got 1 win in our previous 3 games. We were beaten 2-0 by West Ham. We beat Aston Villa in a pretty good performance, 3-2. Unable to build on that, we then succumbed 2-1 to Nottingham Forest, frustratingly. Very different outcome of 4 wins from 6 away games in the FA Cup. No draws, but we have lost twice. We've won 18 of 19 competitive games that we've played against Wigan, as we mentioned before, that one blip coming when Shaun Maloney actually scored. We haven't conceded a goal in our last 5 games against Wigan with an aggregate score of 16-0. You lot and me, we can already see the headlines that are getting written here, can't we? My days. We have now lost 4 of our last 6 after the defeat to Nottingham Forest, which is awful for Manchester United. As bad as it's ever been, actually. Certainly in my lifetime. I'm sure some older Reds can remember it worse, but in my lifetime, that's as bad as it's been. We failed to win any of the last 5 away games in all competitions. That being said, we get the job done here. Now, if we don't get the job done here, and let's try and focus on the positive, because otherwise it's going to be a bit of a... Anyway. Right, Wigan play a 4-2-3-1. It's obviously a pretty basic setup that everybody does. I don't anticipate them changing that too much. I definitely anticipate they'll try and play on the back foot. They're pretty basic when it comes to their possession principles. They fluctuate between keeping hold of the ball and going vertical, depending on the game. Against United, they're going vertical. And actually, we've seen, if you go and look at the Nottingham Forest game, you can get joy at United by doing that one. They do attempt to press high, but I don't think they'll press high against United. I think they'll sit off and they'll deny the space in the final third, looking to limit United's chances, because it can be done. And you can also hit United on the counter. They could do that. They have the least shots on target in League One, but they've got a really high conversion rate with those shots. Goals per shots on target is the highest in the league. They've scored 35 goals from just 70 shots on target. That's freakishly good. On the other hand, they aren't as airtight defensively. Sam Tickle in goal has had to make more saves than any other keeper in the league. So they do give you a chance. They absolutely give you a chance. Predicted 11 is going to be this. And the star man, I think, is going to be Callum Lang. A bit of a direct runner who likes driving from inside the right wing onto his stronger right foot, allowing him to go around the outside. He does look to cross or occasionally fire a shot across if he can get in between the fullback and the left side centre half, he can often fire a shot off from those sort of areas. He's not particularly creative, and he's probably more of a goal scoring forward, but he is a threat and he's got bags of energy, and that will make him a big asset. And he'll probably be the one that we're going to look to when they don't have the ball, as the one that they may be allowed to cheat, allowed to stay a little bit higher, because as soon as they get the ball, they're going to smack it in behind him and hope that whoever it is that's at left back for United has a particularly off day. This season he has been used a lot as a number 10. It could go either way with him in this game. He could either be playing on the right, or he could be operated in the 10. If he starts in the 10, he will drift towards the right-hand side. If he starts on the right, then he's got the abilities to go wide, or to, like I said, look for that sort of gap in between the fullback and the centre-half to make something happen. Out of possession, he does work hard, and that's probably one of the reasons why you've seen him utilised in the 10. He can be useful and part of Wigan's pressing structure. But like I said, I don't think we're going to press too hard in this game. So I think he's going to be used, and potentially used more likely as a winger in this system, because of the threat that he's got running with the ball. So that's how I think it's going to go down. You lads, let me know in the comments. Let's have a look at United then. I think this would represent a decent opportunity for Ten Hag to rest a couple of players, and that being the case, I'm going to suggest he does. Now, he hasn't shown a lot of this previously at United in terms of starts. He would prefer to bring them off the bench, but I do think there's a change in tack here. And I think he would have spoken to Sir Jim this week as well, and I think he might have been given reassurances like, no, listen, we're here for the long term, blah, 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 blah. So I think this represents a real good opportunity. So these two players I'm going to put in the starting 11, I think it's their first starts of the season. It very much could be their first starts of the season. But let's go from the back. I'm going to go Onana. And I'm going to go Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Evans and Varane. I don't think that's going to be too much of a shock. I don't think Luke Shaw's back just yet. I'm going to go Mainoo and Eriksen, because I think we're going to hold the ball. And my first change is going to be Mabry in for Bruno. On the left, Garnacho, giving Marcus the night off. On the right, Amad Diallo. Up front, Højlund. Just a bit more of a youthful look to United, and hopefully that's the sort of team that isn't going to take Wigan lightly, and is actually going to go and play for its positions. That's the team I would like to see. Match winner in that, Højlund. It's a chance for him to get some goals and grow in confidence. League One opposition, he should get better service, but he should also just be able to create some opportunities on his own. As we've already discussed, Wigan give you a chance and they concede a lot of chances themselves. So there is the possibility that he gets opportunities in this game. You're going to need his box presence, because they're used to dealing with like physical forwards, but hopefully his movement and his finishing is a little bit more elite than they're used to seeing, and he gets on the score sheet. As I mentioned at the top of the show, brought to you by our friends at Parimatch, and again, I have an exclusive bet for you that you can't get anywhere else. Here's what I'm going for. Both teams to score? No. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet in this one. Wigan over 1.5 cards and over 4.5 corners for United. That's been boosted from 15-8 to 21-10. If you want to get involved in that, all you got to do is click on the link in the description. And as always, prices are subject to change and availabilities, and you need to be 18 plus to participate. We know football and United, and particularly the FA Cup, are unpredictable, so a little bit of fun to enhance your enjoyment of the game. For more help and information, check the links in the description or begambleaware.org. So how do you beat Wigan? Well, you play with composure for starters, and you keep the game technical. What you don't want, and one of the reasons why I've gone with mainoo and Eriksen in the midfield, is you don't want the game to turn into a bit of a basketball game. You want there to be composure. And actually, Varane, Evans, Eriksen, mainoo, United should have a lot of the ball. So I think that's how you do that. Because if it starts getting a bit end-to-end and it starts looking a little bit ragged, it'll start looking a little bit like it did against Forest, and it'll start looking a little bit stretched, and you don't need a lot to get a little bit of luck and stick one in the back of the net. You'd want to avoid set pieces as much as possible. Second balls are going to be absolutely huge. That'll be an equaliser. The physicality and fight that Wigan will play with will be a bit of an equaliser in the game. And I expect and demand that United control this game. If you can't control a game against Wigan, you are doomed. So I expect United to dominate the ball, not let Wigan have it, and then to just squeeze the life out of the game and then take our opportunities when they come. And secondly, be clinical. Like Wigan do allow a lot of chances and a lot of shots, so make them pay. You know, how many times have we seen a team get a goal off one shot with us? You know, Wigan can be clinical. We need to be clinical. Early goal will shut the crowd up and just let everybody know that they're here for the inevitable. If you get into the second half and it's 0-0, you know, Maloney's going to absolutely wind them up, and they'll think they've got a chance going into the second half. And if they get one, you know, this United team, short of confidence, doesn't quite have the belief that it can come back from a goal, doesn't quite have the goals in it, you would fear the worst. So score an early goal, be clinical, score early, shut them up, and then just hold the ball. Attack versus defence, training session time. You know, and then hopefully start building some confidence from there. We've had far too many false dawns this season. I don't want another one. Let's just get the job done. All right? Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Would you go with the same team I would, or would you change it up? Let me know. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.